Mr. Mark Filardo, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm very good. I'm very good.
Awesome.
Uh, if I ask what time it is, I should also ask what day it is for you over there.
It's about 10 to 9 here,
Yeah.
in the morning, and the date is the 20th of
Yeah,
November.
but
It's a Saturday morning.
it's a Saturday morning. It's a Friday afternoon for me. So you're in Australia.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, fantastic. And you and I met through, was it the contractor strategy group or the
I think I actually just searched you up after listening to your podcast,
okay.
this podcast here, and
Yeah.
I searched you up on Facebook and I found you on Profit Tool Belt, I think it's called.
The other one. Yeah, the other
Yeah,
podcast.
and then I hit you up on there. Yeah,
Yeah. What a small world. But hey, thank you for reaching out. You just never know what's going to happen
100%.
when you
Yeah.
reach out and talk to people. So it's nice.
Yeah.
You're in Australia. I'm here in North America, and you run a cabinet shop there in what city are you in?
Melbourne.
Okay. Actually, Mark, let me stop for a second. Maybe we should get you to do your introduction.
Yep.
Mark, as you know, I like to ask, who the heck are you? And how is it you come to be speaking to all these other cabinet shop and architecture millwork owners?
Well, I'm a tragic cabinet maker. Been in the industry now for about 18 years. So yeah, I started my apprenticeship when I was 16.
Oh, young.
Yeah, I was young. Yeah, very young. I always liked construction. I was always into construction. My family, I've got a lot of family that's in the construction industry. I've got, I come from a big Italian family.
I've never heard of that thing. What's a big Italian family? I have no idea. No idea what you mean.
Yeah, so I've got uncles that were union reps. I had cabinet makers. We had plasterers, tilers, concreters, the typical trade. And so it was in my blood a little bit. But no, I've always wanted to do something. I'll be honest, I never knew much about cabinet making when I got into it. But when I started, I started liking it. But something that was in me all the time was I always wanted to have my own business, and that was from day one. I always wanted my own business, and from there, after I finished my apprenticeship, I probably worked for my company I worked for went down. He retired and he just wanted to close his business up.
Oh, okay.
But I learned a lot there, and I just thought he was very militant the way he ran his business. And don't get me wrong, I've got a lot of respect for my ex-boss, but I just thought, I just see how the employees felt towards him, and they weren't happy in their work environment.
Right.
And I thought, one day I could have this for myself. If I could do it for myself, I'll do this different. When this person had this problem, I'll do that different as well.
Yeah.
But then having that mentality, opening my own business, you get a lot of other problems. And then this is when you reach out to people like Dominic Rubino, hopefully he can help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. A lot of us, I think, come from that place where we realize, we've got a job, we're working for somebody else, and we think, this guy's a lunatic. Yeah. And then we open up our own business and we become the lunatic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Although it sounds like, because you and I had our pre-meeting before, it sounds like you have a very heart-centered, like caring approach to your team and your people. And you've taken a different path than maybe the culture he put in place.
First. Definitely people first. Look, I think just personally, the type of person I am, I've always been a people's person. So I take their needs in first. So I've always had that approach. My employees are everything to me. I don't hire you unless I like you. So when they have real problems, they become my problems too. So I'm not saying that's a good thing. It can be a very bad thing because it can affect the business at times. Which we are putting things in place for that at the moment. But from when we started our business, when I started the business, I was 21. I worked for myself, so I didn't have a business. I was self-employed.
You were the first, like it's just you,
just me
on your own. Yeah,
on my own, working out of my dad's garage, driving him mad. I used to put cabinets all over his driveway. He used to go nuts at me because I couldn't park his car in the garage.
Yeah,
and he, being old school, my father wanted me just to work. Didn't want me having my own business, take risks.
Oh, no. Get a job with somebody else.
Yeah. I was the total opposite. I could, the first year of doing it, I lost $21,000 of one job, and I remember I was mortified.
Mark.
Mortified. I'm not got no shame saying this. I was crying. I went into my room. I started crying. I was like, "Geez,
Yeah, it's the hardest thing, isn't it?
I can't do this." You know, it was crazy. So I had to go work for someone again, and then, but it was always in me. So I started again. Then I had an apprentice work for me. Then I had a cousin work for me. And then I had, then I kept it at that too, out of the garage.
Yeah.
But then that was slowly becoming too hard. We're doing everything and
in the garage. Yeah.
In the garage, got too hard. So then I quit cabinet making for a couple of years, and I thought to myself, I started listening to a lot of books like Jim Rohn. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk. I was listening to Tony Robbins and people like that. Curran Rain, an Australian here, he's really good as well.
Yeah.
Robin Sharma, all these people. I was just trying to educate myself a bit better, and I started the business on the side instead of putting myself in the business.
As a side hustle. You were doing
as a side hustle. So I was doing form work. So I was working in the cause back in 2013, 2014. I had the company started properly. No, it was 2011 actually. Sorry, it's 2011. I was working in the cause. I thought, I'm going to build up my kitty again.
Yeah.
I was about to get married as well. So I thought, I can't get can't get no loans at the moment. The banks are not going to lend me any money. So so I worked in the cause for 2 years doing form work, which was really hard work. In saying that, I made some really good friends.
What's the cores?
So the core is the center of the building. Then the core system that lifts up. I don't know how you would say it.
But that's why you guys call it the cores. Well, form work. You did fly forms. So these are the towers, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's the towers. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So we lifting the grounds.
Sure.
Did that for 2 years, and cheekily I'd be in there as I'm working. I'd be getting leads, getting the jobs up. I'd be sending them to other cabinet makers that I trusted.
Yeah.
And I'd have a side apprentice working for me, knocking cabinets up, getting the subcontractors to go fit the job. So I was running the job, but not from my factory and office. I was subcontracting everything out.
I love it. Let me stop for a second.
Yeah.
Where does this drive that you have come from? Because very similar to me, your family, like your immediate family, wasn't business owners.
Nah.
Your parents, your dad was telling you get a job, and
he was a worker.
Yeah. I mean, very same. My dad and my mom are not business owners. In my family, we have lots of business owners, but at my kitchen table, I was the weird one. How did you what drives you? Where does that come from?
Look, I think I've always had it in me, to be honest. Like my dad worked at Nestle, so he used to make Kit Kats and Smarties and all that stuff. So he still had
not a bad job. Not a bad job.
Not.
I should never, just for public knowledge, I should never work at a chocolate factory. I would die before lunchtime.
Oh, terrible. I had chocolate. My dad had boxes of chocolates coming home every day. It was really hard not to have chocolate at our house. He was known as the Kit Kat man. But I don't know. Like I think there's just something in me, to be honest, because we've got a lot of cousins and aunties and uncles in the restaurant business on my father's side.
Yeah.
My mother's side's got a lot of actually tradespeople on their side, and there's probably business owners in there too. Something that was in me. I used to sell my dad's. I used to go door knocking. Because this is very naughty, by the way. I used to say it was for a school fete, and I'd have boxes of Smarties, and I'd go knocking on doors and say, 2 for $1, it's going for a good cause, but really it wasn't going to no school fete. So I do apologize. Trust me, I've gone to confession for that one. That's a bad one. But
it went to a good cause because now you're employing people. So we'll give you that. We'll give you that one.
Look, I was 11 years old, so you could take. I was a kid.
Yeah. That internal drive has always been there, even in the face of, like, you had a big setback there. You lost 21 grand on a job. You had to go back and get another job, and yet you still, like, there's some fire burning in you that just keeps pushing you forward.
Well, one thing it's taught me is grit. You can't give up. You might be doing things the wrong way. You might be banging your head against the wall and look, I must admit, it takes me a long time to learn. You might, not say learn, more bad habits die hard. Because I know things that I do that are wrong. But what it was is your kind nature sort of comes into play sometimes, and you don't want that to go. So you've got to critique it a little bit. So I find that I make the same mistakes only because I don't want to change who I am. But there's other perspectives how to look at stuff too. For example, like if you're trying to help an employee for a hard time,
right?
Sometimes you babying an employee through a time that he's going for a hard time doesn't let them get past. Maybe they need that to be sacked, or you need to be given tough love so they can progress as well. Because that's what's happened to me. I had tough love the whole time. So I put myself through that tough love. No one. It was just circumstances that did it for me. Losing money was my fault, no one else's fault.
That's a lot of personal responsibility you're taking there, Mark. And I agree. And you're right.
I think you need to. For everything that happens in your workshop, it's your responsibility. It doesn't matter if your employee doesn't know how to do something. That's your fault. If someone keeps making the same mistakes on a job, and you say, "Oh, geez, Kevin didn't do a good job here," that's not Kevin's fault. That's your fault. You kept employing him, or you didn't teach him the right.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't fix it. So, yeah, one thing I've definitely learned is you've got to take responsibility for everything, regardless if you were there or not. So there's something wrong with your system. There's something wrong with the way you're teaching your guys. There's many factors. So it's your fault. It's always your fault.
Yeah. Well, welcome to business ownership. I think everyone listening right now is nodding their heads and like, yeah, it's my fault. But you never know. It's also difficult to know where to start. Because in any business, in any growing business, it really is like spinning plates or keeping plates spinning. There's, something's wobbling while something's running well. And that's just a reality of running a business until we start to put systems in place so it can run better and more predictably.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me take you back, because today we want to talk a little bit more about how you started, that origin story, because you were 16 years old when you started out of your parents' garage. Actually, give me a picture of your parents' garage. Like, what size of garage was it?
So, sorry, I was 21 when I started out of the garage. So,
sorry, 16 when you were an apprentice, and then
garage. Me and my father built this garage because I was so persistent that I wanted to do this. So we actually we didn't have a garage. So what we had was a roller door at the front. My dad's house is very European. So he's got a roller door, right? It's flush to the front of the door and to the house. So it covers our front door. So you can't get to our front door if our roller door's closed.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah,
it's good security.
Yeah, nothing makes sense. All right. So nothing makes sense. So that I built a pergola over it. I thought to myself, well, if I built a pergola, I could still cabinets here as well. But then at the right back of the house, we built a tin shed, which was about 6 meters by 3 meters, which was very tiny.
Really?
Very tiny.
Yeah.
So I used to get the kitchens flat packed from a CNC. So contacts I had from people I used to work with.
Okay.
I'll design the job. I'll draw it up on pen and paper. I'll draw it up for them, and then send it to them. Go through the job. Yeah. I'd cut it for us. I'd go there with my trailer, pick up the flat pack, bring it into my garage, and put it together. And we put it all together. I'd have a little tiny saw. It was what they call the Triton saws.
I was going to ask you what was your first piece of equipment? It was a Triton. A Triton saw,
and it was really bad to use. Like it was fence was about in 12 inches in US Canadian terms.
Yeah.
It was bad. So if you didn't hold it dead straight, the kicker wouldn't cut. Or the pin, you'd say, wouldn't cut straight. And but I always made it work. I'd have a router set up with a straight edge.
Yeah, and you have systems for that stuff, right?
I'd have all the systems to make sure it worked. I tried in-house training.
Do you remember your first customer? First customer ever?
Yeah, I do actually. I do. Yeah. He was an old Italian man, and we did his house. It was actually an old apartment, and my cousin helped me on that one. And he was a cabinet maker as well. And we fit this job. I'll never forget. We were so excited when we got paid. It was a side job. We received $1,000. We charged, I think it was $1,000 for the kitchen, which was cheap for him, and it was a lot of money for us at the time.
Oh, okay, well, that's a great marriage right there. Yeah, everybody thought they were getting a deal. Yeah.
Oh, we went straight to a restaurant that night. We ate. We thought we were rich. It was crazy.
Thousands of dollars. Yeah.
It's funny how your perspective is when you're young.
Yeah. So you did that job. That was your first job, and that was with that first saw. You weren't doing knockdown furniture at that time. No. You milled everything yourself, just right there in the.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that one there. We cut that one without. That wasn't flat pack. We cut that one. Yeah.
You know what's amazing to me, and I'm lucky because I get to see this all over the place. But what's amazing to me is how many of you guys, I'm going to say the listeners, including yourself, started in your own generation and now have businesses that are doing. You're employing it doesn't matter what your revenue is, that's irrelevant, but you're employing other people, you're providing beautiful work, like really stunning interior fit outs. And you started in your own generation, like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Yeah. It's incredible really to think of the opportunity that's been afforded to us to go and do this one job at a time, 1,000 headaches. I get it. It's not easy, but if you sit there and look at it, some of you still have the same dog as when you started.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think what you can do when you set your mind to it and you have that internal burning desire like you've got, and you're always looking for ways to improve. Really incredible.
Yeah, and perspective is a massive part of that. You've got to look at things at different angles all the time. I believe you can't look at it on the same page as everyone else is looking at it. Oh, well, you're going to do the same things all the time, aren't you? Yeah. So you've just got to find new ideas, new ways of doing stuff. And talking back when I first started, one thing I thought would be a different perspective how to do stuff was, what is something that no one does, and I tried it. I'm going to tell you, it flopped, right? But I still think it's a great idea, right? So we did, with my first apprentice that ever worked with me, when we got quiet, I had to find a way to, generate revenue. So, I wanted to keep him employed, give him his, not get rid of him or anything like that. So we went door knocking. We made a pamphlet.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm a big advocate for Blum. You guys have Blum in America?
Yeah,
for sure.
Blum. Yeah, we say Bloom, but yeah, Blum.
Yeah, Bloom. Actually, it's probably how you say it. It's probably said Bloom. Yeah. I've always loved their hardware, and I've got it on our branding. It's what we use. So we'd have a kit made up of a hammer, screwdriver, a cordless drill, and some Blum hinges and hinge plates. And we had this plan for going around for $20. We would come in your house, check if all your doors are aligned and your drawer fronts are aligned. So if it's not, for $20, we just give it a quick alignment for you.
Right.
And that was basically it. And now, if you had and that was a learning curve too. Not everyone had Bloom.
I was going to say, how many people have Bloom hinges?
So that's where the flop was, because I was thinking, everyone uses Bloom. That wasn't
the best out there. Why wouldn't everybody? Then you walk in and it's Hayfully or something else. You're like,
It was something else. So, but we were able to. We got a few jobs where we're just adjusting doors. I said, look, if you let us in, we can have a look at your house and see if your doors are all crooked. I know it does. I said, I know it does my head in when I go to my house and I see a door crooked. So we could quickly fix that up for you.
Yeah.
In your house, my apprentice knows how to adjust. I've taught him very well. He goes in there for $20 a house. We're doing that. And we've got about 9 or 10 customers around my streets.
Really?
Just door knocking. But what happened was I was trying to, it was hard to convince my apprentice I want to keep doing that. So I stopped because I felt like he was uncomfortable doing that. But I just felt like, because it was door-to-door sales.
Right.
And how people feel about door-to-door sales. But I felt it was...
I'll tell you, man.
It was a treat.
You're going to be surprised, but I love door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to do, because you can do this anywhere, literally anywhere, and I did some backpacking, is install the peephole in a door.
Yeah.
The whole. Well, how many houses didn't have them? But you could walk around with a cordless drill and install those.
Yeah.
You could charge $40 to do it. Well, the peephole itself is $12, right?
Yeah.
Just carry 2 or 3 in your pocket. You're going to make $100 that day.
That's right. It's you just gotta produce your stuff to the masses, isn't it? And that's how you do it.
Yeah. So you really do have a burning desire and an entrepreneurial side to you. And that is another side of entrepreneurialism where you're willing to go out and knock on a door. That's a big deal. But you learned it selling your dad's Smarties. So
correct. Which I won't recommend any children doing unless it's for a good cause.
Yeah. I still believe in knocking on doors, although I think times have changed. One of my first companies was installing Christmas lights on houses, and I did that by knocking on doors.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know because I don't know if you could do it now. I know door hangers work, but I think when you knock on the door, you're probably liable to see people dropping and rolling to the floor before they come to that door. Now, and I shouldn't put that out there because it still works. But
I think it's a good trait to have. It's just you can't be they can't be pushy in their attempt. You got to accept you're going to get people that are going to react badly. That's just what it is.
Mark, there's a science behind knocking on doors, and I did it for a long time. One of the science that I know anyways is you knock firmly, but only 3 times, 1, 2, 3. And then you step back from the door and lower than the door if you can. And then you turn sideways to the door so you're not square on.
Yeah.
You should have a clipboard with you and a uniform. You should be well kept. And you should know what you're going to say when they come to the door and understand that speaking softly is better than being loud or obnoxious. And so there's a science to it, right? There's a way to do it properly. I sold a lot of painting that way. But again, that was, it'd be interesting to see how that would work now.
So you're telling me having ripped pants, tradie pants on, covered in liquid nails and no more gaps was a bad look when I was knocking on the doors.
There was some room for improvement, but you've always been up for that. Yeah. So, okay, listen, you told us about your first saw. You told us about your first job. I was going to ask you next, what about your first headache? Like, what was the first job that went sideways on you?
So that job, probably that job when I lost at 21K where.
Yeah, what happened there?
So we did a job. It was actually a commercial site, and I was a one-man band. And again, having contacts in the industry, I was able to get the job. And it was a very, very easy job. So when I say easy, it's easy looking at it now. They were just shaping cabinets, all the same size, had to mass produce them. So they were 150 mil deep. Sorry, I don't know what that is in inches.
That's fine. You can do it in mil. Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, and 1.8 high. I remember the sizes because it burnt me that bad. So it was a job. I was at a hospital, and it was all the shaping cabinets going into the rooms, and I thought this was a great job. I think what the biggest headache was because I was outsourcing so much of the work and the Christmas period was coming, I wasn't able to get the flat pack into my garage on time. And the clause in the contract was that if you don't get in by a certain time, we're going to stop back charging.
Oh, it was penalties and back charges that got you, not subcontracting or material cost overruns.
No, I for this job here, I planned to make it and fit it myself. That was all going to be me. And we didn't hit the deadline. And because I was outsourcing and I couldn't get the guys to cut the job for us quick enough, it hit Christmas time and we went in and handover was then. So, so what happened was, because it was such a simple job and such mass quantities of it, but any other company could have done that with their eyes closed. So they cut me off. So I got stuck with all the material and they got someone else.
Oh, so they got somebody else. I see.
Yeah. So there was penalties, but the penalties started coming, but I didn't have the work still done. So they ended up going to someone else that was able to do it within a day, really. They had the old BSE machines that cut it up. I know the cabin maker had done it actually, because I had done subcontracting work to him. So he done the job and he cut it and he fit it, and that was a very big lesson that day. Yeah, very big lesson.
I can feel that in the pit of my stomach because I've had those jobs too.
Yeah.
Where every minute you're there, you're over, or you're getting a penalty, or it's just nothing is good. You just got to get through it. And
look, I'm not going to lie, it's happened to me this year. Like with that type of stuff, we've copped that a little bit this year, but the landscape hasn't helped us. What's happening in the world today, but we had to be better. We had to be better, and just learn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Make the mistakes once, though. Let's not make them again and again.
Exactly. And that's definitely, you're definitely right there. Yeah.
If maybe let's get a perspective here, Mark. What does your current shop look like? Because people don't know whether you do residential or commercial, and if you do either of those two, what's your specialty? You know, if it's residential, is it new? Is it renovations? What's your current business model?
Yeah. So look, we've got 12 employees here at the moment. So we've got 2 designers. So we do more of the higher end work of town, but we also do a lot of lower end jobs as well. So we probably target more of the high end work. The lower end work that I talk of, we do a lot of factories like kitchenettes and stuff, and tile cabinets, where it's just your basic cabinets. It's nothing too hard about it. But we try to target the higher end work. We work with a lot of interior designers, architects. That's why we've employed 2 designers here. They just purely do that because there's a lot of back and forth with that type of stuff.
A lot of communication.
Yeah. You could be doing up to 5 to sometimes 10 revisions on a drawing. So that's like, we specialize in that. We do specialize in that. So that's probably what we target. That's our model. We also find with those type of clients as well that they're a lot different to the clients that you get in the lower end market. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just a different approach that you need to have. Yeah. So that's probably our model. So FKI Interiors, that's our company's name. We've got about 4 people on the floor here. We have 4 people on site. We have a sales manager. We've got 2 designers, an on-site foreman, and a factory foreman.
That's a long way from putting together knockdown furniture in your pergola.
It is, yes. It is. Definitely.
Yeah. If you look back now, if you were the business coach for Mark when he started, what would you have done differently?
I would have done what I'd done in the core, but I was saying about what I did in the core. I would have set up all the positions first before. I would have pretended I wasn't a cabinet maker and I knew nothing about the industry at all.
Right.
I think that's the best way to do it. Those people I was telling you about, I don't know if it was in a previous meeting, about the people I listened to, business modeling should be a business model. So having sales managers, one of the best positions I put in, and that was the first position I put in after the apprentice I had here.
Really? That was the next position, not an administrator, not anything else. It was hiring a sales manager.
I was the administrator at the time, so I done that myself. So I got the sales position in first, and I knew someone very good at his role. He happened to be my best man, and I was his best man.
Nice. Yeah.
He was very good. I knew he was right. He was the right guy for the job. He's been with me ever since 2016. He's been with me. But one of the best roles I could ever had, communication between the client and us is very important. So he done that role perfectly. I've had to critique his role on the way, but he's been fantastic. But there was a stage where I put too much responsibility on him. I was making him project manager. He was sales manager. He couldn't do both. So he purely deals with the clients. So that's his role, and he finds ways to find work, and that's I strategize on that, and I help him with that strategy too.
So what does your day-to-day look like then? If you've got him as a sales manager and you've got designers doing designing, what consumes your time? I
would like to say to you that I just critique the roles here, but that's not the case. So I do critique the roles, but I do a bit of everything. So I like to say I'm the PA to every role here. Oh. So if the sales manager needs a hand, if something's not working, I'll help him. If our designers, if communication, something's breaking down, I'll help her. I can give you an example that happened, something just the other day where sales, there was a lot of emails between the client and our design team. Somewhere in that email, they specified something that they wanted, where they wanted the range hood cabinet, and she's missed it and done a drawing for him. So the drawing got sent to the client. The client's looked at the drawing, said, yeah, it's all good, but the drawing doesn't. We obviously, having CNC machines, and machinery like that, it cuts what you draw.
Right.
So that piece of he's looked at it, but he didn't look at it properly, and she's drawn it wrong. She's drawn it
without the modifications.
Yeah, and we say to our clients, we want you to look at the drawings before. So something I critiqued in a role, it's our fault. And she goes, "Why is it our fault? We drawed it from." I go, "Yeah, but you missed a bit of information that he's told you." And so the question needs to be next: do you understand the drawings? If there's something you don't understand the drawings, is there something I can help you with that? Do you want to sit down with me half an hour and we'll go through the drawings and make sure that everything that you've asked me is in that drawing that you can't see? Because if you've asked those questions, they're going to give you the right answers. Yeah. So I've been working on questionnaires just for what my guys ask the clients and what they should be asking each other, how to communicate each other.
Right.
It sounds fantastic what I'm saying to you. Trust me, it's a work in progress.
Well, look at how many different technical requirements there are for different appliances.
Yeah.
And the interfaces of, two different, like a Bosch dishwasher versus another dishwasher.
Right.
It's incredible how much detail just goes into that. And if the homeowner or the designer, well, you're smiling, I guess we're talking about the same thing. They say, well, it's a dishwasher. We just changed the model because we got it on sale. You're like, okay,
nah.
I'm glad you got it on sale. And totally different.
Yes. So
totally different.
Yeah, the drawer front's the dishwasher panel is going to be a different size.
So. It's different, yeah, and I think I would be guilty of that as well because I don't build those all day. It wouldn't seem a big deal. Be like, well, we just get the dishwasher we get. They'll make a door. Well, but you drew a different door, and your machine's going to cut a different door.
Correct. Yeah. So it's all about information, isn't it? So the customer has to know where they stand with everything. They got to understand that there's a lot of components to what we do. And you got to make that clear before anything gets started.
Would you? So you've got designers. Sorry to cut you off, Mark, but you've got designers, and I've worked with guys who say, look, when a customer comes to us, no designer, no deal. We're not building for them because there's so much hand holding when a customer comes to you and has sketched their own dream kitchen, and a lot of nightmare, depending on your perspective. Other people find that's their sweet spot, dealing with homeowners or renovators who don't have a design; they just have really a concept. What's your take on that? Would you do it that way?
What I find with the designers is it's very appealing to the market, knowing that they can help you design what they want. I find working with interior designers, look, when they've designed something and they send it to you, you've got to modify that. They could put things on the drawings that don't work with the material that you have, and then you've got to explain that. Well, this is not going to work, and they understand that. They totally understand that.
But it's not their job. Their job is to design beautiful kitchens, not engineer beautiful kitchens. It's a different thing, right?
That's the challenge. I actually listened to a podcast that you spoke to an interior designer where she talks about work with us, and sorry, I forgot her name. But I think
it was Dwayna Sprague. Maybe.
Yeah.
Or Amy McGeechee. I'm not sure which one. Yeah.
And it just reminded me of a job I'm going through right now. We've had multiple meetings saying this doesn't work, that doesn't work, and that's what's been great having a designer that works for you because she knows what works and doesn't work because we've taught them that way. So they could straight away tell them and say, well, this is not going to work if you put 50 mil board on the side. We can't get material that thick unless we build it out, and if we build it out, it's going to make the job a bit more expensive because it's going to be more labor intensive. So that type of thing, I think they're great. They can eliminate a lot of problems. Communication between the designer and our factory team and our on-site team is great too, because they can always go back to her and speak to her. She's the one that will tell them, well, this is why we've done this. This is what you need to allow for. If there's any questions, she's the go-to person. So
yeah. It sounds like you have come an incredibly long way from one saw, that was a retail saw. It's a homeowner's kind of saw.
Iron on edge. Yeah,
what's that?
Iron on edger. We used to edge everything by iron.
By iron?
Yeah.
It's funny. I have a edge banding is, that I have a client that just now, they're very excited because they just got an edge bander. Otherwise they were applying it all by hand with a mallet.
Oh, wow. Oh yeah, the tea molds. Yes.
Yeah, and they're in a very special situation. That they're Amish, so that's
Nice.
yeah. But I had not heard that statement in years.
Yeah.
Like, we just got an edge bander. Quite often, an edge bander might be the second or third thing somebody buys.
Yeah. Well, it took me a while to buy one, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an expensive thing, and you've got to have the real estate to put it in and train people on it. And there's a lot of fun. Believe it or not, there's a lot of funny stories with edge banders, but it's only funny to the people that listen to this show. So we'll otherwise it's not funny to anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
If you were, let's say you are talking now to the Mark Filardo, the next Mark Filardo, which it's what is it? What are you now? 2021. He's just starting out. He or she's just starting out. What advice would you give somebody who's just starting out as a cabinet maker?
I'd probably say you got to pick your clients as well. So yeah, I would tell them, look, it's funny you saying this, because I'm telling my foreman, my on-site foreman, this now. He's ready to tell me in the next year he wants to start his own business, and I thought, fantastic. I'm going to be sad that he's going, because I've had him since he was first year apprentice.
Wow.
And now he's the on-site foreman here. But I'll be sad to be gone. But it's kudos to him. I'm wrapped for him. So he's giving me a whole year's notice because he wants to do the right thing by me. So yeah, what I've told him. So I'll tell you what I've told him. So I've said to him, don't learn from my mistakes. I'm going to tell you all of them. I'm going to show you all my mistakes that I have. I've made plenty of them. Pick your clients. Not all the jobs you need to take. It's very easy to get trapped in doing work for a client that gives you the job that you want, and then while you're there, say, oh, by the way, I need this done, need that done, need that done. Just make it very clear. Look, I only do this type of work. Have your sales position. Have the positions written down on a piece of paper first. Work out the communication between all the positions. So you're not the person everyone's going to all the time. You don't want that. I said you will never be able to think clear if you're the person everyone's going to. And don't start this business because he wants to start the business. Oh, I can fit the kitchens. I can do all that. I said, is that what you want? Because I don't know if I want that. We'll go, well, don't be the person that fits the kitchens. I said, make sure you've got something that fits your kitchens. Make sure you've got everything in position. If you want to, he said he wanted to start with doing subby work, just installing. I said, that's fantastic. If you want to do that, that's great. You can make a lot of money doing that, and you can set up a team, make sure you train them right, make sure they work for you, and you can put, your percentage on top of the hourly rate. But if that's what you're going to do, I advise you stick to that and not just do one thing. Be good at one thing. Don't do manufacturing, because if you're going to manufacture and you try to do all that yourself, you've got no hope. So, No, keep going. Yeah. So have your positions in place. And what I feel is sales positions one. I believe, I know a lot of people don't believe, designer is important, that they can do drawing and use, the CNC equipment. You need a factory foreman. And I'm getting this off what you say, off your podcast, because something that you've instilled in me, listening to you. I've always known it's important, but it's very important. You need someone communicating between the office and the factory floor and no one else. And that person is going to make sure, because that person, if he's not, I believe the factory foreman shouldn't be on the tools too much, because they need to be able to see other things that are happening around them. They need to read the play. They need to be able to read the floor and see if someone is not sticking to their task, and making sure that there's something they can fill their time with productively, not just for the sake of it. I said to Connor, his name's Connor, I said to Connor, as you know, down here, a lot of time gets wasted because someone's not down there telling them what they need to do, because that's just human nature. They just go drifting. And if someone's like giving them the work, that's what will happen. And they're not going to, it's not their business. They're not going to think about what I need to do. So they need to be shown. There has to be, boards for them to keep going, and, procedures to be put in so they know that, work has to keep flowing. So yes, definitely a factory foreman is important.
Yeah.
And I probably would start from that. And then obviously you need a good tradesman. So
it's funny though, because you can't just hire all those people without any work. So if you were to hire, I think you did this already. You started with yourself, and then you hired an apprentice, and then the next person was the sales person. Yeah. Or if I use an analogy, you guys know I have a background in archaeology, which is weird, but you hired a hunter to bring meat back to the cave, right?
Yeah.
You said, okay, look, we know I can build, but let's get somebody to go find us jobs so I could focus on building. It sounds like that's the path you took by bringing on the salesperson third.
Best move we took. Yeah, best move. Salesperson was the best move. Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I like it.
I never had the answer for sale. I was always a good salesperson myself. Anyone I meet, I could close the deal. I was pretty good. That was probably my strength. But with having a salesperson in, they find ways. And I'd like to say that I worked out all the ways for him, but that wasn't the case. So we had an app called High Pages where they send you leads, and we paid for that.
Right.
And then and it's got a job description on this, so you can say, "Oh, I want that job." "Oh, no, I don't want that job." So, and then you have to bid on it. So you're going to be the first person best dressed, really. And normally they only let 3 people bid on the job. So that was one way they got us started. And then you meet people. We've got a lot of colleagues. Yeah, a lot of builds that we do. We do a lot of functions. Here in Australia, like it is in North America, you guys are big in the NFL. AFL is massive here.
Right.
So we hold a grand final breakfast here for the AFL.
Really?
Yeah. It's a massive event here. We have a breakfast. I get all my builders, all my clients that all our good clients. We shout them. We do a lot of functions like that where we, we'll have a. Once or twice a year, I'll have a sit down. FKI supplies everything, and we say thank you for your work.
You do a lot of community building. You actually, what I'm hearing from you is you think a lot about the people on your team, and you're a service first. A servant leader type of person. Is that an accurate statement?
It is. No, we definitely are. That's describing us in a nutshell. But that needs to be kept in boundaries. Service is definitely first. That's definitely what we're about, and I love those functions. I love doing them. They're great. You meet people. It goes a long way. It leaves a stain on these people, so it's great.
It leaves a stain.
It leaves a stain. It does.
Positive stain. A good stain.
It's a good stain. Yeah. You do these functions and they love it. So they say, "Oh, you're doing the grand final breakfast next year," because we would have it at a big table. So we do with the C from, I don't know if you guys know, but the union here is called the C from EU.
I'm not familiar with it, no, but.
So it's the major commercial work that happens here in Australia. The C from EU are the union that runs it. So we'd get a table with them. They'd have AFL footballers come there. They'd have live.
Oh, it's a big event. They're actually, okay. How many people are at this kind of thing?
And we'd buy a table, have, people we worked with that year, they get to meet each other. I don't just have builders or clients. We also have trades that we work with, so they can also have the opportunity to get work themselves. So by them doing that, I feel, and I do it sincerely from my heart. I don't do it just for work. But what happened is that they think of you too next. When they're working for another builder, and they say, "Well, you know what? I remember Mark. He had this function here. He set me up with this builder. I've had all this work, and it's been great. I'm going to
give him a call." Yeah, I trust him. I know him.
Yeah,
he's because they see you in a place outside of work.
Yeah, and we don't talk about work at all, really, until it's up to people. Really, we talk about football, really. So it's that's what it is. We bought a boat on one of these things because me and my sales manager, my best friend, we love our fishing, so we bought a boat off one of these guys, and he sold the boat, so it was great.
Oh, it's fantastic. Now you told me you have a fishing boat. I will be on a plane to Australia before you know it. Just so that we can hear from. What are you fishing for out there? It's an offshore boat, I take it, because you're in Melbourne, right?
Yeah. So we got there's Port Phillip Bay here. It's a big bay here, so it's protected from the waves and all the choppy. It's not ocean, but there's a lot of around October. There's a lot of snapper, so we fish for snapper.
Okay.
It's snapper season right now, And I'll tell you what, I haven't had not a chance to go out, which I'm spewing. Really spewing.
After you get off this call, which we're about to end, make the phone call and just make it happen.
Oh, I've got to make it happen. Yeah. The boat's just clearing dust. So I've got to go.
Yeah. You're wasting a boat. You can't waste a good boat.
No, you can't. No.
Yeah. Mark, thank you for being on. I really have enjoyed this. And today you and I set out with a goal to talk about what it was like to start, what it was like to build the business. Because there's lots of people who are still in that process, and all of us are in the building process, but quite often I find that we're talking about people that already have a big shop and they're crushing it. And now they want to get from 3 million to 7 million. But we need to talk to the people as well they're doing 200,000 this year, maybe 300, 800,000, and they're dying to know what it's like to be the next level. And I'm glad that you focus so much on the people and the systems and the processes to get you there. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No, thank you for having me. I must say I'm a massive fan of yours. So listening to you has helped me a lot too. So I advise all your listeners to keep listening, because it's been you've got a lot of good value here, and probably a lot of the things that you know already, and just hearing it again helps. I've got nothing to hide. We turn over here between 1.5 to 2 million here now. But it does have its headaches. Profit is what we want. It's not about what you turn over, it's what you profit from that.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's the major thing. I think people, they set their sights on turnover so much they forget that you need a profit. So that's what I'd say to everyone. Yeah.
It's all about profit. Well, it's interesting, even on the when you talked about talking to your foreman about going out on his own, you mentioned that add-ons, when a customer comes back and says, well, I want this and I want that. If we don't do it right, that's one of the places. There's 8 different profit leaks, as we've talked about here before, right? Yeah. That's just one that's so easy because you want to be nice. Oh, we'll just do that. You're just a quick vanity. We could turn it out in 3 hours, but it's not 3 hours. And then there's a problem. And then you've got to come back and fix the punch list. And before you know it, you're 12 hours in, and that was 12 hours of profit. And you're like, what happened? Exactly. I just try to be a nice guy, and I just lost my shirt.
Yeah. Happens a lot. It does. Yeah. Got to be onto it. You just got to know if you know your numbers, you'll know that you can't do it.
Oh my God. I think we've just found our guest host, Mark. I think if I ever take off fishing, I might get you to host the show. All right. Thank you, sir, very much for being here. So nice to meet you and have this conversation. And you've been fantastic. I mean, we just met through the chats, and I saw your website, and I thought this would be a great guest, and you've been open to it. So thank you very much for being open to that as well.
Oh, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, Mark, perhaps we'll have you back in the future. Thanks so much.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
Bye-bye.